Welcome to the United Way Difference, featuring Oshkosh area United Way agencies and events. Your host for the United Way Difference is Executive Director Sue Ponick.
Hi, and welcome to the United Way Difference. I'm Sue Ponick from United Way, and I have two very familiar guests with me today. Lori Altrad is with I always say it wrong, with Big Brothers Big Sisters, and she's been on our program a number of times. And we also have a Big Brothers Big Sister mentor that I think you'll find recognizable, and that is our former mayor, Bert Tower. So welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good to be here. Thank you.
So, Lori, you're kind of taking a page out of my book, is when somebody retires from their current position, you recruit them. Is that right?
Absolutely. We want people to become mentors and stay involved in their community.
That's excellent. Mm-hmm. Well, Bert, thanks for all your service to the entire community and now to Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Well, this is fun.
This is fun, yeah.
Good
What, you saying the other stuff's not fun?
It was fun too, but in a little different kind of way. This is all fun.
This is all fun, okay. Well, Lori, we're here to talk about Big Brothers Big Sisters and how that program impacts the lives of kids.
Yes.
So let's tell me a little bit of history and what's going on with Big Brothers Big Sisters these days.
Sure. Well, Big Brothers Big Sisters started over 100 years ago, about 110 years ago, and locally since 1967. So we have a long history of making an impact and making positive changes in the lives of many children. And these programs, too, deeply engage communities through collaborating with families, with mentors, community funders, schools, and other partners in the community. And we have proven outcomes. We have surveys every year that reflect the progress of every match. And we see educational success. We see risk behaviors either being eliminated or reduced. And the social emotional competency, just getting along better and having more solid friendships, is all part of what we do.
Okay, so you're talking about risk behaviors. Give me some examples.
We have children who might start drinking alcohol at an early age. By being matched with a mentor, that is put off for many more years because they realize that does have a negative impact in their lives in all sorts of ways. Or there are children who get angry or upset about things and they want to lash out and hit someone, but a mentor can talk to them about having different ways of handling that.
Okay. And I would think, too, like when you mentioned the issue of drinking, maybe it's because they don't feel the need to drink because they have something else that's filling that void in their lives.
They have something to look forward to every week. They have things that help them feel good about themselves, that they can succeed, and to get engaged so that they're meeting other children their age and they build friendships that way. So being involved helps them all the way around.
So what is the actual mission of Big Brothers Big Sisters and in Oshkosh, the youth that you're serving?
Our mission is to provide children facing adversity with strong and enduring, professionally supported one-to-one matches that change their lives for the better forever.
Okay, and how many kids are you serving right now? And it's boys and girls, right?
Boys and girls. We have 183 children enrolled in 2014. The children are able to enter our program between the ages of 6 through 14, and they can stay together until they turn 18 or graduate from high school. The profile of the children that we serve in 2014, 66% were girls and 34% were boys. And their ages, when they start out at 6 years old, we have 23% 6 through 9 year olds involved, 41%, which is our biggest category, wow, yeah. 10 to 12 years old. And then it tapers off just a little bit, but 13 through 15 is 24%, and 16 through 19, 12%. So you can see there are a lot of children engaged, but early on we feel that we can make even a better impact, and so it's nice to see that we have that many 10 to 12-year-olds.
Right, and it's also, but it is good to see that from 13 to 15, you're still keeping more than half retention.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
And then it does drop by about half, but by that time, kids may be in sports or after-school activities.
They start
or
getting jobs.
Yeah.
Getting their driver's license and doing other social things, so,
Right.
yeah.
So I know that we have a picture of a big sitting in front of us, but who else are those bigs that we're talking about?
Well, our mentors come from all walks of life, and they're all ages. They have to be at least 15 and a half, 16 to start in our program. And
To be start as a mentor.
To start as a mentor. And we match mentors all the way up through their 80s. So we have high school, college, 20, 30, 40, all the way up through our oldest big brother's 84, 85 years old.
Okay, and how long has he been, you said big brother, so how long has he been a big brother?
For many years, been matched with several littles. So he's been a part of our program for a long time.
That's a cool story.
It is. It's exciting.
So if you have a 16-year-old as a mentor, who would you match that mentor with? Because you're not going to match a 16-year-old with a 16-year-old.
Right, exactly. When they're that young, oftentimes they aren't driving yet, or even if they are driving, don't have a lot of driving experience. So oftentimes they will choose to be placed in what's called a site-based program. And that's simply where a match goes and meets on site, and they don't have to worry about having a car or driving the child around and that sort of thing. So oftentimes a 16-year-old would be matched with a 6 or a 7-year-old.
Okay.
And keep it simple and do simple activities together.
Well, you started to talk about the programs.
Yes.
And so the next slide that we're going to put up actually talks about both the programs that you operate out of this Big Brothers Big Sisters. And is that nationwide then?
It is nationwide. Everybody does a community-based program, and it's what we call our traditional core program.
Right. That was kind of your bread and butter for years.
Yes, right. And that's where a mentor drives to the child's home, picks them up, and takes them places out in the community. They meet once a week for a calendar year, and generally they are more likely to meet in the evening or on weekends, or if the child has a day off of school, if it works in their schedule, they can meet, in an afternoon if the child is off of school. They enjoy similar interests and hobbies that they do out in the community then, and it can be anything from practicing a sport to going to to do arts and crafts. They can go to libraries, they can go swimming. It's a variety of different activities. Then we also have the site-based program, and that's what I was just talking about. So that's where a mentor would either go to a child's school, or they could go to a site that we have a program at, and they just simply meet and play board games, do arts and crafts, go on the internet and look up different interests that they might share. They can do homework together and do projects together that are due for school, and that really helps the child keep pace and keep up with their grades and what's going on in their classroom.
Okay. Well, Burke, you're a big brother now with the agency.
Yes, I am.
How good are your math skills? That would be.
Fortunately, I haven't been challenged significantly.
Oh, God, homework. Homework. Wait a minute here. I didn't sign up for homework.
I have a very bright little brother who does well on his homework, so I haven't been challenged in that area yet.
Okay, well, based on what Lori said, you've got your work cut out for you.
I don't know that it's work. It's kind of fun because you're talking about getting involved with a relationship with somebody. So we have a good time.
So tell us about your little brother.
Well, there's probably limited things I can probably share in terms of that, but he's 10 years old. He goes to Emmeline Cook. Very bright young guy, outgoing, likes to get together, likes to do a lot of things. Indicates he wants to be a scientist someday. Likes sports.
Okay, well, that's right up your alley.
Has varied, you bet. So we have fun with that.
So I'm going to come back to Lori just for a minute. So how do you look at what the child's needs are or the child's likes and dislikes, and how do you match them with your mentor then.
It's a very thorough process. Sometimes people are mistaken by how much work goes into it.
Into the process.
Into
Yeah.
the process itself of making a match. The interview itself is lengthy. It's not a difficult interview. We just ask a lot of questions. We get to know a lot about each individual, and everything is kept confidential, but it really helps us as matchmakers to look at just those very things, their interests, their values, their personalities. Location is a big factor. We want to make sure that they're compatible in every sense of the word. We don't make perfect matches because human beings aren't perfect, but we come as close as we can to what each of them are looking for. And I found in making Burke's match that it was actually fairly easy for me because he is so articulate and shared so much about himself that I found a little brother that I thought could be really compatible.
Okay. Well, Brooke, so how long have you been doing this now?
It's only been 3 months. I started talking about it back in the fall.
Okay.
But as I can validate what Lori said, the vetting process is extreme. In fact, the good news is the vetting process is extreme. The bad news is the vetting process is extreme,
It
and
is.
they're very much on top of it. So I can assure anybody who gets children involved that they're going to be well taken care of and well protected in terms of things that people sometimes worry about today.
Right. Right. I mean,
So I really started. I think I applied back in November and really wasn't approved till February.
okay.
Which is mayor of the city of Oshkosh. I said, why does it take so long? But that's good. I didn't know it took all that time.
Okay,
to
just
figure.
because you're the mayor doesn't mean you get
I
a
know.
pass.
I figured
you
that
know.
out. And so really started, I think, was at the end of February. So it's been basically about 3 months now.
Okay.
And I'm in a site-based program, not in a community-based program at this point in time. That may switch over time depending upon a number of things.
So we have you. So you actually go to the school.
I go to school every Monday. I
Okay.
go and.
Is it like a lunch hour thing, or before or after
Well,
school?
you can choose the time with
Okay.
the child, so it's very flexible with the particular child. We chose to do it after school because I thought there'd be a greater variety of things we could do when time would be less a constraint than
Okay,
over the
yep.
lunch hour. So we get together for about an hour and a half, from roughly about 2:30 until 4 or a little afterwards, and we get together and we talk for a little while about the last week, what's going on in his life, what's going on in his life this week. We always play some kind of a game or do an adventure of some kind or another, or talk about some kind of a event. I went to Panama recently, and I indicated I was going to Panama, going to miss a week. And I asked him what he knew about the Panama Canal, which was nothing. So we explored that on the computer. When I went to Panama, I got him a book and brought it back, and we went through the book. And so he knows all about the Panama Canal now.
Well,
So
that's
that was
cool.
fun.
Yeah.
And then at the end of every session, one thing that's important, we talk about the next time, because I think it's important that he knows I'm going to be there the next time.
Okay.
And so we talk about what we're going to do the next time, so he has that continuation, because that's one thing that was stressed with me, is that
Being consistent.
being consistent and being able to see you the next week and know that you're going to be there.
Gonna be there.
Going to be there.
So, when you talk about the next time, does he share what some of the things he wants to do or likes to do?
Well,
or
sometimes what we do, I'll say, okay, I chose what our activity was this week. You get to choose next time, so think about it. So and do
Okay.
that. So he'll do that. We just talk about what he may want to do, or if there's something coming up, we may say we want to work on that.
Okay.
When the weather got nice, we went outside and just tossed football for a while. And
So
did
what's
some
his
things
favorite
like that.
sport then?
It's hard to say. He likes sports. He wants to get better at sports. That's one thing that he said he wants to do, because he's had a lot of opportunity.
Okay. And does he like watching them or more playing them?
He likes playing. He's a 10-year-old boy.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you see kids and they just get into this rut of watching and they don't.
Yeah, no. He's a doer. He's a
Okay.
doer. That's part of what makes it fun.
And as a match support for his match, I have come to learn that they challenge each other with these board games. And his little brother is very sharp and picks up on the different games that they've played, which makes it fun for both of them. It's a good challenge.
And competitive.
And competitive. I love seeing that.
What has been your toughest challenge, if there are any?
The toughest challenge is in the site-based program is you're limited in time and you're limited in place. So it has to take place in the school. So that limits you. That's one reason why we're exploring something new this summer to see if I can have contact with him this summer in kind of a community-based situation over the course of the summer. So I pick him up. We can do different kinds of things because most weeks we do fine with finding things, but that can be a challenge for an hour and a half. If some weeks, if both of you just aren't quite into things as much. So that's the reason I always have a couple games in the background, ready to go.
Ready to go. Okay.
And he is a boy that needs to get out to explore the community too. So
Yeah.
it would be real good for him to be able to do that.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to be finishing up our conversation with Burke and Lori about Big Brothers Big Sisters and Burke's new adventure. Thanks for watching.
Whatever we deny or embrace, for worse or for better, we belong, we belong, we belong, we belong together.
Underneath everything we are, underneath everything we do, we are all people, connected, interdependent, united. And when we reach out a hand to one, we can influence the condition of all. That's what it means to live united.
This year, United Way worked to ensure quality childcare for over 6,500 children in Kansas City. To do so, we coordinated the efforts of 95 providers, 11 partners, and 8 different funders. We helped thousands of families in 8 different counties. But the number of centers and services doesn't really matter. What matters are the children now with a chance and families now with a future.
Hi, and welcome back. My guests today are Lori Altrade and Burke Tower. And Lori is the lead match specialist with Big Brothers Big Sisters, and Burke is probably one of their newest mentors, right?
Yes.
And when we left the program, Burke was just talking about some of the fun things that he does and the learning things that he does with his little mentee, who is 10 years old. Lori, you had mentioned about the vetting process that you go through, but once they get matched, then what happens? Do you just give up on them?
Not at all. That's something that Big Brothers Big Sisters is very diligent about, is match support. Once a match is put together, each and every match has regular contact with a match support specialist, and sometimes we're just looking for feedback that everything is going okay. There are times where a mentor needs a little bit of guidance or coaching, or to have some resources available to share with the child. So we're there to help out with that. But we will call once a month and check in with the match to make sure everything is going well. Generally, I will call Burke on the phone, or we've emailed each other. But for the little brother, I go directly to his school to talk to him in person.
Okay.
And talking to him in person helps me read his face and to interact with the other people that are there at the school. And so match support is vital for the safety of every match and for the development of every match.
And how much do you communicate with the parent or parents?
In the site-based program, generally it's limited amount of access to a parent. We don't really need to interact with them as much, simply because the mentoring is taking place at the school. I do know Burke's little brother's mother, and have communicated with her quite often. But generally, it's just not as intense supervision with the parent as it would be in the community-based. Of course, in the community-based, the mentor is driving to the child's house and picking them up at home. So they're meeting the parent. They're talking to them every week about how the child's day went, how the week went, how did school go, how is it going with friends. There are siblings that are there when the mentor picks the child up. So oftentimes they'll say hello to the family members and the dog and everybody else that might be there. And so there's a lot more interaction, and match support is a little bit more intense with the parent.
Okay. Well, Brooke, and you said you went through this extensive vetting process, and it
Yes.
took a while. Did you have to go through any kind of a training or an orientation, or did they just say, here's the little one and go at it?
No, I mean, there was some orientation when we went through. I think we were together for a couple of hours the first time, so I came with a list of questions,
Okay.
and so.
The orientation is
so-
about an hour.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think we ended up spending a couple hours.
than that.
Well, you came with a list of questions. That's
came-
understandable.
I came with a list of questions too. So, and she's always there or available. One of my concerns was what happens this summer, because they have a situation where with the site-based, they like to have some contact during the summer, but you're not necessarily supposed to see them. I sort of wanted to see him and maybe do a few other things. So we're trying to work that out. So I called
We
Lori and said,
accommodate
how
that.
can we make this work? And she's working on that right now. So I think we're gonna make that work. And I have her number on the
It's
On my-
very simple.
on-
It's
on-
called
on my
School
phone.
Days Plus.
so get all the help I need, and then she calls and say about once a month, ask how things are going. The other day she gave me like 15 questions over the phone. She said, "Can you take 2 minutes?" It was 20 minutes later.
That was to do
That's
the
one thing
end
I've
of the
learned with
school
Lori.
year
That's one thing I've
survey.
learned with Lori.
Well, she already warned us that she likes to talk, so we know that. So I like her because she's just like
That's
me.
good. So there's a lot of help, a lot of support
Okay.
from the organization. So the big thing is for the individual mentor is you got to make a commitment to be there on time. You get all the support you want or need, so that's not an issue. But you do have to make a commitment, and the young folks look forward to it. I was 2 minutes late the other week, and he was not happy with me that day.
He was
It was
looking for
significant.
you.
He was worried that I wasn't going to show up,
Okay.
and so
Right.
as you begin to develop that relationship, they begin to depend on it.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I
Solid bond.
can see that. Mm-hmm. And not. We don't know what happens in their lives when you're not there either. So
Right.
so you might be the one constant factor in their lives,
Absolutely.
and
the one to go to
Right.
to share their feelings, their thoughts. Some of our matches even journal how they feel about certain things during the course of the school week. And so that's nice too, that mentors can share what's going on and how they felt about certain things
so they journal to you or to with
each other.
with each other. Okay.
Mhm. So that really helps to know what the child is thinking and where some of their challenges might be.
Okay. Well, Lori, how do we know this is making a difference in in the life of a child?
Well, we know that through doing surveys, which by the way are self-reported, it's not something we're making up or we are determining. It is actually from the mentor or from the child themselves, and sometimes the mentors too. That's what Burke was talking about. We did a survey, an end of the year survey the other day, and but we find that through research that after 18 months of being matched with a mentor versus those children who don't have a mentor in their life, 46% were less likely to begin using illegal drugs, 27% less likely to start using alcohol, 52% less likely to skip school, 37% less likely to skip a class, and 33% less likely to hit someone. So littles are more confident in their performance in schoolwork and get along better with their families. They get along better with friends at school. They get along better with their teachers. They just generally build more respect for one another and know what to do in certain situations. So that's a huge deal when we're talking about early onset of alcohol and drug abuse, or like I said, lashing out and hitting someone. So to reduce that in any way is great.
Yeah, the schools must love it.
Yes.
Less behavioral issues. So that's nationally. Are you
Yes.
seeing the same things locally?
Yes, in Oshkosh, we're excited to know that in the community-based program, there's been reported that 54% of youth surveyed have improved in their educational expectations, talking about what they're going to take in high school or going on to college, what they want to do for a career when they get older, and just exploring that. 98% of youth surveyed had an improved feeling that their relationship with their mentor is significant. That's a big deal. That's kind of what we were alluding to. That bond is there and it's so strong. They look forward to seeing each other every week. For the site-based program, 50% of the youth surveyed improved their educational expectations, and 100% surveyed said they improved their feeling that they were bonded with their mentor. Excuse me.
Okay, I should have brought you some water.
Sorry.
That's okay. Burke, what are you seeing with your mentee?
Well, in the case of my mentee, he's a bright young man whose mother has been a great influence on him, and things like going to school, being at school, and understanding at school have already been ingrained into him. So things along educational performance, so I think that's in very good shape. When I ask him, have you skipped school? No. Why not? Well, because you have to go to school. Why do you have to go to school? Because that's the way you can be more successful later.
Oh, okay.
And if you miss school, you won't be as successful later. So that's already, he's very much into the educational part of it. That's
And he's
a strong
only 10.
influence on his mother.
And he's only
Does a
10.
wonderful job. So that's good. I think the big thing that I've seen is that our relationship has broadened somewhat and gotten deeper in terms of, he brings up some things now that he probably wouldn't have brought up before. I mean, even being his disappointment I mentioned the other
Yes.
week. He probably wouldn't have said that early in the game, but he was pretty disappointed. He let me know about that in some different ways, which was good. And I think the other part of it is clearly the other thing that she had mentioned, that I think you become significant in that person, another significant relationship, and that's one thing that I think he hasn't had, is a number of significant relationships, and I think I fill that void as another one in his life.
And that's the thing. This is not a replacement of the parent or the role of the parent. This is
No.
really an extra
Yeah.
set of eyes and ears and hands to help this child and interests to move him along. Burke, has he taught you anything yet?
Well, I learned about Pokemon the other day.
You learned about-
We had a thing the other day. We started talking about it. I said, I never really understood this, so he brought his book of Pokemon and explained that to me. So I learned about Pokemon.
Okay.
I love the
I've
fact
learned-
that he can share his interests, and to know that you take an interest in what he's interested in. That's what really creates that bond. That somebody cares, somebody's listening,
Yeah.
and
It's
they
not
know
just a
them.
blank stare.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. And it's not just about school, but you're learning through being together.
Very much so.
Excuse me. Lori, if somebody wants, this all sounds so great that I think a lot of people will want to get involved.
That's
I hope a lot
terrific.
of people will want to
And-
get involved. So how do they get involved?
We would just ask them to either call our office at 920-231-2442, or they can just go directly online to bbbsfvr.org. And the FVR stands for Fox Valley Region. We do get asked that sometimes,
Okay.
so it's bbbsfver.org.
Okay, and even though you're part of the Fox Valley region, you still have an office here in Oshkosh, and
Yes.
and you work primarily out of the Oshkosh area, or do you?
I am all over. We do serve 4 counties. So we serve Winnebago, Outagamie, Calumet, and Waupaca counties. But I spend a majority of my time in Oshkosh at the schools, interviewing families in their homes. I will go to the university to speak to groups. I go to businesses. So I'm in Oshkosh a lot, but I do spread my time amongst the 4 counties.
Okay, and one last time, can you give the contact information so that we can wrap it up and
Sure.
people can get that information one more time?
It's Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Fox Valley region. Our website is bbbsfvr.org, and our phone number is 920-231-2442.
Well, thanks so much for being on the program, and it's so nice to, sometimes we'd like to have a little as well,
Yeah,
or maybe a
absolutely.
little who's become a big or something, but thanks for being there, Brooke. Thanks for doing one more thing and adding to your resume of wonderful things that you've done to the community. Lori,
And we're
thank
so
you for being
pleased.
here.
We're so
This is-
happy that Burke joined us.
This is fun for me.
Good. Was it on
It's a
your
good
bucket list?
adventure. Actually, it was getting together and doing something more micro-oriented as opposed to policy oriented. So
Good
this
for
is
you.
fun.
It's
Thank you
terrific.
both.
Thank you.
Okay.
And thanks for watching our program.